Hey folks, so I think we're going to see the Supreme Court cancellation decision either tomorrow, June 15th at about 10 a.m. Eastern Time, or the following week, about June 22nd. So the reason why this matters is because the Supreme Court is probably going to rule 5-4 either way, either in favor of cancellation or against cancellation. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Specifically, we're watching Judge Brett Kavanaugh, or Justice Kavanaugh, Justice Barrett, and then Justice Roberts. I think those are going to be the folks that are going to be the swing votes for this. So, what might they rule? Basically, what we're thinking about is Mohila is the state-owned entity of Missouri, and the question is can they sue? Can Missouri sue on behalf of them? If they can, then I think it's pretty clear that the judges are going to rule against it, against cancellation. Now, if the Supreme Court says basically that, well, sorry, we don't want to open the floodgates in terms of having everybody be able to sue on behalf of a state. So that wouldn't be good, right? So if essentially the justices don't want to open the floodgates to a bunch of lawsuits from, say, blue states on things as well, then they're going to have to rule really narrowly. So they might try to construct something that basically says where we're only going to let folks sue on behalf of state-owned loan servicers, for example. This is the issue of standing. So you effectively have to show some sort of a harm to be able to have a lawsuit at all. And so the justices might not want to open the floodgates on this. And so if they do that, then what they might do is simply say, well, we're just not going to find standing in this, and in which case they would allow the lawsuit to proceed, or sorry, the cancellation program would get to proceed. So what's going to happen? Either is going to go very narrowly against cancellation or very narrowly for. Probably one of the justices will be convinced that we don't want to have standing in this case because of what it's going to mean for other cases, and then possibly another justice. So I'm thinking Kavanaugh is going to be the swing vote on this, just because he stated in the hearing for the lawsuit, oral arguments for the lawsuit, that some of the best moments in Supreme Court history were when they took on an executive. So that's kind of suggests to me that they might rule against cancellation based off of that statement, and they might manufacture some sort of really narrow standing, but we'll have to see. So what does this mean afterwards? Whatever decision that we get. So if we get cancellation, all of Biden's other stuff is probably just going to proceed as planned. But if we don't get cancellation, what does that mean? So if we don't get cancellation, I think that we're going to see possibly a lot of pressure from Biden's progressive base to go bigger on new income-driven repayment. So if we see that happen, what might they do? They might do 5% of income. They might do 400% of the poverty line instead of 225. They also might try to make it so that you can get 10 years till forgiveness for a higher amount of debt. So their initial plan for the new repay plan is anything less than $12,000 of debt would be a 10-year forgiveness period instead of 20. But they might expand that. If you're going to block the 20,000 cancellation, they might say, well, anybody that's got less than 32,000 of debt would get forgiveness after 10 years. So a lot of things to watch. Again, Supreme Court decision on cancellation expected either tomorrow, June 15th, or June 22nd. Any comments? Put them in the comments below. Thanks for watching Student Loan Planner.